Welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about regular expressions and how we can use them in a Python programming environment. One of the most common questions I get from people is what's the most effective thing I can learn to immediately start doing some interesting things with a computer? And my answer is almost always regular expressions. Now, if you aren't familiar with what these are simply ways of searching through texts based on patterns instead of literal strings. We're going to see why that's so powerful throughout this course. So we can use them in Python using the regular expressions library, or the RE library. And to use them, I'll begin my file by importing RE. Now, regular expressions can be used just like normal search strings. So for example, I have my string, and I'm going to search inside this. I can say, hello, how are you? I can say result equals re.match, hello, which is my search term, and my string. So what it's going to do is it's just going to look for hello inside that string. Now, if you just want to find an exact string, you shouldn't be using regular expressions or the RE library because it is a little heavyweight, but it is extremely powerful. So if I print this result, what I'm going to do, I'll just run this code, 1901. What we can see is it returns this particular object that we're going to talk about here in a second. So if we go and we look a little more closely at what is going on here, we can import this library. We have this string, and we're going to search for a particular pattern. Now, in generally, when you actually search with the regular expressions library, you can search with a plain string. It's better to search with a raw string because the regular expression engine has an easier time with it. But one advantage of this is it has returned what's known as a match object. And this match object has a lot of extra methods that tell us something about it. So for example, we can get the string result from the match object. We can get the start of the object, the end of the object, and the span of the object, which is just where it starts and where it ends. So I'll go ahead and run this piece of code. And we can see that it tells me hello, which was the match, which we knew because we only searched for hello. It starts at 0, ends at 5, and its span is from 0 to 5. But if we look a little more deeply into why this is a useful thing, it's because regular expressions let us search for patterns. And we can identify these patterns using certain special characters. So here, I'm just going to cover a few of these. If you're interested, you should go check out regex1.com for a lot of exercises that'll help familiarize you with how these behave. So I'll talk about a few of these. I'll start with /d. This will match a number. This will match any number. So for example, I should also point out that we're going to use re.search instead of match, because match actually only finds something at the beginning of a string, so it can be a little bit, or the beginning of a line, so it can be a little bit hairy to use. Here, we're just going to say search for /d, and this will just find this 2 here. If we search for a \D, it'll find anything that's not a number. In this case, it'll just find an I. A \S will match white space characters, so it'll find this space right here. A \S will match not white space, so again, we'll find an I. There are other white space special characters like /t, which matches tab characters, /n will match a new line, and there are a few others that aren't really in common use anymore. /w will match letters and numbers, so /w here will match this I because it'll match the first thing it finds. /W matches anything that's not a number or letter, in this case, a space. Now, a period is a really interesting and useful character because it will match anything in a string except a new line character. So here it'll also match this I. /b is useful because it will match a word boundary. So for example, if we're searching for the word ship, and we don't want to match the word ship inside friendship, we can say \b ship, and it'll find this ship instead of this one in friendship. A question mark will make something optional. So for example, if I'm looking for humor, and I want to find both the American and British spellings of it, I can add a question mark after this U, and it'll say, OK, this U is optional. So Americans spell it humor. If I add this U, it'll match that as well. But so far, we've only been talking about matching individual characters a single time. Often we'll want to match something one or more times. So if we use a plus, we can find, if we do /d plus, it'll find all characters in a row. So here we would have 2018. Now the star is like plus, except it matches things 0 or more times, which is a really interesting thing to do. For example, if we search for humor with the star after the U, it'll match both this humor as well as this humor with a bunch of U's. So it'll say it needs to be there 0 or more times. So we'll go ahead and we'll go over here and we'll run this code. So we'll do, this one was regex's special characters. And we can find that in fact all of those matches are exactly as I described them. Here's that ship, and instead of friendship, there's humor. And here are both of the other humors that we found. So these special characters will help us find lots of very interesting patterns in our documents. So if we go on and we look at the next piece of code, we can actually find that unlike the find method in Python, we can use something that's akin to a find all method. Now, the regular expression library does include a find all method. It's just re.findAll/d. This will find all of the strings that match a digit in this string. So in 1954, I found 28 crumpets inside the house at 11 County Road. This will just return all of these digits individually. Now, it'll return them as strings, which is useful, but if we want match objects, we can use findItter instead. And this is what we'll be using through most of this course. If I do re.findItter, raw string/d in my string, we'll print out these results. And you'll see that this is just an iterator object. To see them, we have to iterate through it. So we can go for every result, in results, print the result. And I'll go ahead and I'll run this. And this is number 4. And we can see the first thing we get are just the strings that are all of the digits. But if we want all of the match objects, we create this iterator object and we iterate through it. So we say, the 1 starts at 3, 9, 5, 4, so on and so forth. So this is a really useful thing. Now, in many cases, when we design these patterns to find, we'll be wanting to use what are known as character sets. Now, these character sets will match anything between the brackets, but it'll treat it as a single character. So, for example, if I have square bracket, ABC, close square bracket, it'll match either an A or a B or a C. So here, I'll say, do you run this place? It'll actually match this A and this C if I print these results. Now, we can also use dashes inside these character sets to look at ranges. So A-E will match A, B, C, D, or E. A-Z, capital A dash capital Z, will match any upper or lowercase character. 0 to 9 will match 0 to 9, but you could also use the /d. A to Z, capital A to capital Z, and 0 to 9 will match all alphanumeric characters. You can also use character sets to not match something. So if you want to not match an A, you can use character caret A. You can use bracket caret A, close bracket. So here you can say, find everything that's not the A. We'll go ahead and we'll run this. And we'll see that we found A and C, just like I said. And then this will find, do you run this PL and then not the A, CE. So you'll notice here we search for plus, which means we've searched for one or more of everything but A, which is why we got this extended match. So what happens, though, if you want to search for a period inside your text? Well, you can actually use the escape characters, just like with our plain strings. So here, you'll just need to put a slash before it. So what happens if I want to find this square bracket? I use a slash, backslash square bracket, period plus backslash square bracket. So here, this will just find whatever occurs in between these brackets. And I'll print out these results Also, a backslash period will find a period, backslash plus, backslash star, so on and so forth. So when I run this, you can see that it just finds 1980. Pretty simple with the brackets. Now, in some cases, we might want to specify exactly how many times a certain character occurs. We've seen 1 or more, 0 or more, but we can have much greater control over that using curly brackets. Excuse me. If I want to look for A exactly 3 times, I can use A, curly bracket 3, close curly bracket. And this will match A, but not just A. If you want to match something at least once, but as many as 4 times, you can use curly bracket 1, comma, close curly, 1, comma 4, close curly bracket. To match something up to 4 times, it's just curly bracket, comma, 4, close curly brackets. To match 4 or more times, it's just curly bracket 4, comma, close curly bracket. So you can see all of these examples just right here in the code. I'll go ahead and I'll run this one, 7 multiples, and you can see that it matched that AAA. So it's a really handy way of matching exactly a number of characters. We can also start to refine what we're getting back when we run these searches using what are known as groups. And groups are formed with parentheses. So let's imagine that I am looking at a piece of HTML. And here I have some HTML, and this is just ahref equals www.google.com. This is just saying, hey, here's a link, and that link goes to google.com. If I want to then take that HTML and get just the URL, I can use this nice little regular expression. So here I have a equals href equals quotation mark, and then open parentheses, period plus, close parentheses, and then another quotation mark because this matches the quotation mark up here, close bracket, and then finish this raw string. What this will do is this will find this whole piece of string, but it will also return just this period plus as a group. So I can print the result, and I can print result.group1. And inside this group 1 is going to be the text that is just inside these 2 quotation marks right up here. Okay? Now you can also have multiple groups by just having multiple sets of parentheses. It occurred from pages 336 to 7. I can search for parentheses /d plus dash parentheses /d plus. So this will return these 2 numbers individually to me. I'll go ahead and I'll run this. 8. We can see that this returned to be google.com and 336 and 7. So this is very, very useful because when I'm searching for links in a web page, I know that they're links because they have this href equals, but sometimes I don't want that extra stuff, I just want the link itself. So this is a handy way of finding that. Now I should point something out. We've been using these plus signs a little willy-nilly. Some operators, like the plus sign, are greedy. This means that they're going to be matching the longest possible string they can find. I'll give you an example of this. My string equals argo bargo. What I want to do, what if I just want to find argle, but I don't know RGL? If I want to match just ARGLE, if I search for A period plus E, what this will do is this will find the longest possible match for this pattern, which is in fact not just argle, but argle bargle, because A is the beginning, E is the end, plus matches anything but a new line, so it's going to match all of this stuff. If we don't want this, if we don't want argle bargle, and we just want argle, what we need to do is we just add a question mark after the plus sign, and this makes it non-greedy. We've seen question mark behavior in regex already. It is a little confusing because some things do have dual uses, and this is one of them. But I'll go ahead and I'll run this. And this is 09. And then you can see the first one did, in fact, find argle bargle, no exclamation point, and the second one found argle. So be aware of this greedy searching behavior. You might get unexpected results. So often you'll want to make things not greedy. Now, you can also add an OR operator to your searches to find one thing or another. You do this with what's known as a pipe, which is just a straight up and down character. And depending on your keyboard layout, it might be in certain different places. In mine, it's above the backslash. So you can do re.findAll cat pipe dog. This will find either cat or dog. So then you'll say, is this a cat or a dog? And we'll go ahead and print results. I'm finding all, so it will find both of these. So I'll just run this Python 18, 10, cat, dog. Pretty easy. The last thing that I want to talk about before I move on to something else is replacing with regular expressions. One of the cool things we can do with regular expressions is start to mark up our texts, or edit them if they contain lots of things that we don't want. So for example, I have a string with a bunch of extraneous space in it. I might want to delete all of the spaces at once and replace them just with a single one. You can do this to get rid of double spacing after punctuation, these sorts of things. What I can do is I can use the re.sub function. So inside parentheses, I can give it a pattern, here /s+, which is one or more white space. I give it a replacement value, which is just a single space, and then I give it the string that I want it to alter. And I'm going to save it back as my string. And here what this does is it'll just replace all of the multiple spaces with a single space. I could also, if I have a string that's cats and logs are dogs, I could replace all of the cats and the dogs with something else. Here, kapow. And I'll just give it my string, and it'll replace cats and dogs with kapow. So it'll say kapow and logs are kapow. All right? But a perhaps more useful thing to do with this replace function is add some markup. So if I have a text, say my string is, "Oh captain, my captain, are you a general?" And I want to find out, I can add brackets around captain and general that specify that, hey, this is a title. I can say, find captain or general inside a capture group. And then what I want to do is I want to replace the title. I want to replace that text with title inside this markup. This is a little bit like XHTML, /g. Now this /g specifies a group that I'm returning, and inside these brackets is a 1, these arrow brackets. And this specifies which group I want to return. There's only one group, so it's going to be capture group 1. And then I'm going to close off this with title. And I'll just then give it my string and then print this out. So what's going to happen is it's going to give me a marked up version of that text. I'll run this. You can see that we have, this is a few spaces. We got rid of all the extra space. Kapow and logs are kapow. And oh, title captain title, my title captain title, are you a title general title? So it's a really useful thing of quickly adding lots of markup. Now, regular expressions are extremely flexible and powerful, but they can get extremely complicated. So you have to be aware of this. If you want to learn more, as I mentioned earlier, go check out regex1.com. It has a lot of cool exercises that will help you get familiar with these really powerful things. So with that, I'm going to stop here. And in the next episode, we're going to start talking about pandas, which is a data analysis library. See you next time. Thank you.